Commander Zektar pressed his clawed finger against the cold metal wall of the archive room. The lights were dim here, casting long shadows between the tall shelves filled with data crystals. He had been studying star maps for 3 days now, searching for something that made no sense. The Velkari were the best explorers in the galaxy. They had mapped more space than any other race. Their ships had traveled to distant stars, found new worlds, and made contact with hundreds of different species. But there was one place on every map that remained blank. A red zone with warnings written in dozens of languages. Human territory. Entry forbidden. Zektar had never seen a human before. He knew they existed, but they stayed in their own space. The other races talked about them in whispers. Some said humans were monsters. Others said they were ghosts. Most just said to stay away. The door to the archive room slid open with a soft hiss. Elder Telvanni walked in, her old scales clicking against the floor. She was the oldest historian on the station, and she remembered things that others had forgotten. "Still looking at those maps, young commander?" she asked. Her voice was scratchy with age. "I need to understand," Zektar said. "We have explored 90% of the galaxy, but this area remains empty on our charts." "Why?" Telvanni moved closer to the holographic display. The star map floated between them, showing millions of points of light. But in one corner, there was only darkness marked with red warnings. "I was there during first contact," she said quietly. 40 years ago. The Krillian hegemony controlled that sector back then. They were strong, proud warriors. They had the biggest fleet in the galaxy." Zektar turned to look at her. "What happened to them?" "The humans happened." Telvanni touched the red zone on the map. The Krillians tried to expand into human space. They sent 3 battle fleets. Each fleet had 1,000 ships. They were confident they could conquer anything. And none of them came back, not even a message. The Krillians sent more fleets to investigate. Those disappeared too. Within 6 months, the entire Krillian hegemony was gone. Not destroyed, just gone, like they had never existed. Zektar felt a chill run down his spine. The humans did this? "We never saw human ships. We never detected human weapons." One day the Krillians were there. The next day, their worlds were empty. Clean. No bodies, no damage, no signs of battle. Just empty cities and silent space stations. The old historian turned away from the map. That's when the Galactic Council decided to mark human space as forbidden. It was the safest choice for everyone. After Telvanni left, Zektar continued studying the records. He found reports of other incidents. Small exploration ships that got too close to the human border and vanished. Trade vessels that took wrong turns and were never seen again. Every few months, someone else disappeared near human space. The patterns were always the same. No distress signals. No debris. No evidence of what happened. The ships and crews simply ceased to exist. 3 days later, Zektar was in the station's main diplomatic hall when everything changed. The room was full of delegates from different worlds, all here for trade negotiations. The air was filled with the sounds of many languages and the smell of exotic foods. Then the humans arrived. Zektar knew it was a human before anyone announced it. The entire room went quiet. Conversation stopped. Even the background music seemed to fade away. Every alien in the room turned to stare at the entrance. She was smaller than Zektar had expected. Humans looked fragile compared to most galactic species. This one had dark hair pulled back and wore a simple blue uniform. She walked with calm confidence, as if she owned the station. "Captain Lisa Martinez," the station announcer said. "Human diplomatic liaison." Zektar watched as other delegates stepped back to create space around the human. No one wanted to get too close. The human seemed to notice this and smiled. It was not a friendly smile. During the diplomatic dinner that evening, Zektar found himself seated near the human captain. He had requested this placement, wanting to observe her up close. She ate her food calmly, while others picked at their meals nervously. "You're staring," Captain Martinez said without looking up from her plate. "I apologize," Zektar said. "I have never met a human before." "Most haven't." She took a sip of her drink. "We prefer to keep to ourselves." "Your space is marked as forbidden on all our charts," Zektar said carefully. "Why is that?" The human turned to look at him directly. Her eyes were brown and seemed very deep. "We just like our privacy. Most visitors find our hospitality too overwhelming." The way she said the word overwhelming made Zektar's skin crawl. There was something behind her casual tone that suggested terrible things. "What happened to the Krillian hegemony?" he asked. Captain Martinez smiled again. This time it was worse than before. "They came to visit. We showed them around. They decided they preferred to stay." "Stay where?" "With us." She went back to eating. "They're very happy now." Later that night, Zektar received a priority message from Velkari Command. 3 more exploration fleets had gone missing near the human border. The Starfinder, the Deep Explorer, and the New Horizon. All had been conducting routine surveys of empty space when they stopped responding. The search and rescue teams found nothing. No wreckage. No signs of conflict. No trace that the ships had ever existed. It was as if they had been erased from reality itself. Zektar stood in his quarters, looking out at the stars through the viewport. Somewhere out there, beyond the edge of known space, was human territory. A place where ships went to disappear and entire civilizations vanished without explanation. He made a decision that would change everything. He activated his personal communicator and began sending coded messages to selected members of his crew. If the Galactic Council would not investigate human space, then he would do it himself. The next morning, Captain Martinez was gone. She had left the station during the night without saying goodbye to anyone. But she had left something behind. A message crystal addressed to Commander Zektar. He played it in the privacy of his quarters. The human's image appeared in the air before him. "Commander," she said, "I know what you're thinking. I can see it in your eyes. You want to know our secrets. You want to explore our space." She paused. "That can be arranged, but remember what they say about curiosity. Sometimes it's better not to know." The message ended. Zektar stared at the empty air where her image had been. He felt like she could see right through him, even though she was probably light years away by now. But his mind was made up. He would assemble a crew. He would build a ship capable of reaching human space. And he would find out what really happened to all those missing explorers, even if it killed him. 6 months later, Commander Zektar stood on the bridge of his ship, the Seeker's Pride. He had spent all his personal savings and called in every favor to make this journey possible. The ship was small but fast, equipped with the best sensors. The Velkari could build. His crew was the finest he could find. Dr. Yuthara was the galaxy's leading expert on alien biology. Her green scales shimmered as she worked at her science station, studying data about human physiology. Captain Nexol ran the ship's weapons and shields. He was a veteran of many conflicts and feared nothing. Engineer Verdan kept their systems running perfectly. His people were known for building machines that never broke down. "We are approaching the border zone," Nexol reported from his station. "All sensors show empty space ahead." Zektar looked at the main screen. The stars looked normal, but according to their charts, they were now at the edge of human territory. Everything beyond this point was marked as forbiddance. "Beginning deep scans," Dr. Yuthara announced. Her instruments hummed as they reached out into space, searching for any signs of life or technology. "This is strange," Borden said, frowning at his readings. I'm detecting massive gravitational distortions ahead, but my eyes see nothing. Cloaking technology? Zektar asked. Not like anything I've seen before. These readings suggest structures, the size of moons, but they're completely invisible. The ship moved forward slowly. Zektar felt nervous. Every instinct told him to turn around and go home. But he had come too far to give up now. He needed to know what happened to all those missing ships. Contact ahead, Nexal said suddenly. One ship approaching fast. Weapons? Zektar asked. None that I can detect, but that doesn't mean much. The human ship appeared on their screen. It was beautiful in a way that made no sense. The hull seemed to bend light around it, creating patterns that hurt to look at directly. It was smaller than the Seeker's Pride, but somehow felt much more dangerous. Incoming transmission, their communications officer reported. Put it through. A human face appeared on the main screen. He had short brown hair and friendly blue eyes. He was smiling, which somehow made everything worse. Welcome to human space, the man said cheerfully. I'm Captain Jake Sullivan of the Silent Guardian. We've been expecting you. Zektar felt ice in his veins. Expecting us? Oh, yes. Commander Zektar of the Velkari Exploration Fleet. Dr. Yithara. Captain Nixal. Engineer Vorden. We know all about your mission. Sullivan's smile never changed. We're here to help. How do you know our names? Dr. Yithara asked. We make it our business to know things. Would you like an escort to our nearest colony? I think you'll find it very educational. Zektar looked at his crew. They all seemed as confused as he felt. We accept your offer. Wonderful. Follow us. And don't worry about the defense grid. I'll make sure you're marked as friendly visitors. Defense grid? Zektar thought. What defense grid? As if reading his mind, Verdan-S instruments suddenly came, alive with new readings. Commander, I'm detecting weapons platforms everywhere. Hundreds of them. They were completely invisible until now. The space around them lit up with energy signatures. Massive structures uncloaked, revealing themselves to be weapons unlike anything in the galactic databases. Some looked like they could crack planets in half. Others seemed to exist in several dimensions at once. Impressive, isn't it? Captain Sullivan said. We've been working on our home security for quite a while. Can't be too careful these days. The Silent Guardian began moving deeper into human space, and the Seeker's Pride followed. As they traveled, more structures became visible. Space stations that defied physics. Asteroid bases that had been hollowed out and turned into fortresses. Ships that moved without engines, propelled by forces that Velkari science couldn't explain. How is this possible? Dr. Yithara whispered. Our intelligence reports said humans were a young species. They only achieved spaceflight a few hundred years ago. We learn fast, Sullivan said over the open channel. He had apparently been listening to their private conversations. We had good teachers. What teachers? Zektar asked. Oh, various species that tried to conquer us over the years. The Krillians were particularly helpful. They had excellent military manuals. During the 3-day journey to the human colony, Captain Sullivan told them stories about human space. He spoke casually, like he was discussing the weather, but every word made the alien crew more frightened. He talked about planets where the atmosphere itself had been turned into a weapon. Gas clouds that could think and hunt. He mentioned star systems where the suns had been modified to serve as early warning beacons, their light carrying coded messages across impossible distances. We have colonies that exist in parallel dimensions. Sullivan explained cheerfully. Great for security. Hard to attack a place that's not entirely in this reality. Why are you telling us this? Nexal asked. The warrior's voice was strained. Because you asked to see human space. We believe in Informed consent. You should know what you're getting into. Dr. Yuthara ran private scans on Captain Sullivan during their conversations. The results made no sense. His biology was wrong. Humans were supposed to be weak, soft creatures. But her instruments detected muscle density like a Krillian war beast, bone strength that could resist armor-piercing rounds, and a nervous system that operated 3 times faster than normal. Are all humans like this? She asked Vedan privately. Like what? Modified, enhanced. This Sullivan isn't natural. He's been changed into something else. Vardan checked his own readings. According to my scans, every human we've detected so far shows similar modifications. Men, women, even the children. Children? The colony we're approaching has families. My sensors show juvenile humans with the same enhancements as the adults. As they got closer to their destination, the aliens began to understand that they weren't just visiting human space. They were entering a territory where every resident was a living weapon, where the very environment had been turned into a defense system, and where their hosts knew more about the visitors than the visitors knew about themselves. One more thing, Captain Sullivan said as the colony came into view. When we arrive, please don't make any sudden moves. The locals are friendly, but they're also very protective of their home. They've had bad experiences with unexpected visitors. What kind of bad experiences? Sektar asked. Sullivan's smile finally changed. It became something cold and sharp, the kind where visitors forget to leave. The human colony appeared on their screens. It looked peaceful and normal. Green fields, small buildings, children playing. In parks. But after everything they had seen on the journey here, the Velkari crew knew that nothing about this place would be what it seemed. Welcome to New Haven, Captain Sullivan announced. Population, 50,000 humans and counting. We hope you enjoy your stay. As the Seeker's Pride descended toward the landing pad, Sektar wondered if he had made the biggest mistake of his life. But it was too late to turn back now. They were deep in human space, surrounded by weapons they couldn't understand and guided by hosts who seemed to know their every thought. The only way out was through. The landing pad was surrounded by flowers. Bright yellow and red blooms lined the walkways, swaying gently in the artificial breeze. Children were playing nearby, their laughter echoing across the settlement. It was the most normal scene Sektar had ever witnessed. It terrified him completely. Welcome to New Haven. The woman approaching them had graying hair and a warm smile. She wore simple clothes and carried a basket of fresh fruit. I'm Mayor Rebecca Stone. We're so excited to have visitors. Behind her walked a group of colonists. Farmers with dirt under their nails. Parents holding small children. Teenagers who looked bored, like teenagers everywhere. They all seemed perfectly ordinary. Dr. Yitharia's scanner was hidden in her sleeve, taking readings constantly. The results made her feel sick. Every human she detected had been modified. Their bones were dense enough to stop bullets. Their muscles could lift tons. Their blood carried toxins that would kill most alien species on contact. Your journey must have been long, Mayor Stone continued. Captain Sullivan told us you were coming. We've prepared rooms for you at the inn. That's very kind, Sektar managed to say. His throat felt dry. Nonsense. It's the least we can do. How often do we get visitors from the Velkari? Your people are famous throughout the galaxy as explorers. A little girl ran up to them. She couldn't have been more than 8 years old, with blonde pigtails and a bright pink dress. She looked like any child anywhere in the galaxy. Are you really aliens? She asked, staring up at Sektar with wide blue eyes. Amy, don't bother. Our guests, Mayor Stone said gently. It's fine, Sektar said, kneeling down to the child's level. Yes, we're from very far away. Cool. Did you come in that spaceship? It's pretty, but not as pretty as Daddy's ship. He has one that can turn invisible and go really fast. Amy, a man's voice called. A human male approached, wiping grease from his hands with a rag. Sorry about that. Kids say the strangest things. But Zektar was watching the little girl. His enhanced vision caught something the others missed. When she smiled, her teeth were too sharp. When she moved, it was with perfect balance that no child should possess. And when she waved goodbye, her small hand left fingerprints in the metal railing she touched. Come, Mayor Stone said. Let us show you around our little town. The tour was a nightmare disguised as a pleasant walk. Everything looked normal on the surface. The bakery smelled wonderful. The school had children learning their lessons. The park had families having picnics, but Verdun S instruments detected weapons. Everywhere. The playground equipment doubled as training obstacles for combat scenarios. The park benches contained hidden weapon storage. Even the flower gardens were wrong. His scanner identified most of the plants as highly toxic to non-human biology. This is our community center, Mayor Stone explained, leading them to a large building. We use it for town meetings, celebrations, that sort of thing. Inside, humans were practicing what looked like a dance. They moved in perfect coordination, flowing from one position to another. It was beautiful to watch. It's not a dance, Captain. Negsul whispered to Zektar. It's combat training. Advanced martial arts. Every movement is designed to kill. The practitioners were all ages. Children as young as 10 moved with deadly precision alongside adults and elderly humans. They treated lethal combat techniques like a fun social activity. We believe in staying active, Mayor Stone said, noticing their attention. Physical fitness is important at any age. An elderly man, who looked to be at least 90 years old, performed a move that would have broken Nexel's spine. He did it casually, while chatting with a friend about crop rotation. How long have you lived here? Dr. Yathara asked Mayor Stone. Oh, about 20 years now. We came here after the troubles on Earth got too complicated. What troubles? The usual. Overcrowding. Politics. Too many visitors who didn't understand our ways. Her smile never changed, but something cold flickered in her eyes. We prefer the frontier life, more peaceful. They visited the local school next. The teacher, Mrs. Janet Cooper, was explaining history to a class of teenagers. The lesson was about the Krillian hegemony. Who can tell me what happened to the Krillians? She asked. A boy raised his hand. They came to visit us and decided to stay permanently. Very good, Tommy. And where are they staying? A girl in the back row answered. In the deep colonies. Daddy says they're very happy there now. Excellent. Now, who can explain why the Galactic Council marked our space as forbidden? The same. Girl raised her hand again. Because they're scared of us. They think we're dangerous. And are we dangerous, class? The entire class answered in unison. Only to people who mean us harm. Mrs. Cooper smiled proudly. That's right. We're peaceful people who just want to be left alone. But we're very good at protecting ourselves. After leaving the school, Dr. Yathara pulled Zektar aside. We need to talk, privately. They stepped into an alley between two buildings. Dr. Yathara activated a privacy screen that would block their conversation from being overheard. Every scan I've taken shows the same results, she said quietly. These aren't normal humans. They've been modified at the genetic level, enhanced in ways that should be impossible. What kind of enhancements? Everything. Strength, speed, intelligence. Disease resistance. Their blood is toxic to most alien species. Their bones are practically unbreakable. Their nervous systems operate so fast they could react to attacks before most species could even begin to move. Zektar felt cold. All of them? Every single one, including the children. Maybe especially the children. The youngest ones show the most extensive modifications. What are we dealing with here? I don't know. But I don't think we're looking at a colony. I think we're looking at a military base disguised as a civilian settlement. That evening, they were invited to the Harvest Festival. The entire town gathered in the central square. There was music, dancing, and food. Everyone seemed happy and relaxed. It was like any small-town celebration anywhere in the galaxy. Ziktar found himself talking to little Amy again. She was eating something that looked like candy. "What are you eating?" he asked. "Iron supplements," she said cheerfully. "Mommy says growing girls need lots of minerals." She offered him one. Zektar's scanner identified it as containing enough metal to kill a dozen Velkari. To her, it was just a snack. "Amy, sweetie," her mother called. It was the woman who had been practicing combat earlier. "Come help me with the cleanup." "Okay, Mommy. Bye, Mr. Alien." Amy skipped away, and Zektar watched her go. As she passed a metal fence post, she absently grabbed it and bent it into a pretzel shape without even slowing down. She was humming a children's song while casually destroying solid steel. "She's such a helpful girl," Amy's mother said to Zektar. "Just last week she helped her father clean up after our last group of visitors. She's very thorough." "Visitors?" Zektar asked. "Oh yes, we get them sometimes. Explorer types usually. They poke around, ask lots of questions, make everyone nervous." The woman smiled. "Amy helped dispose of their equipment afterward. She's very good with recycling." As the festival continued, Zektar began to notice more disturbing details. The music was beautiful, but it was played on instruments made from materials his scanner couldn't identify. The food was delicious, but many of the ingredients were unknown to galactic databases. Even the decorations seemed to be made from technology that was far in advance of anything the galaxy had seen. Late that night, back at the inn, the four aliens gathered in Zektar's room to compare notes. "This entire place is wrong," Nexal sighed. "I've been in war zones that felt safer. The technology here is centuries ahead of anything we know," Borden added. "But they hide it so well. Everything looks primitive on the surface." "It's not primitive," Dr. Yithara corrected. "It's camouflaged. They want us to see a simple farming community. But underneath, this is the most advanced military installation I've ever encountered." Zektar stared out the window at the peaceful town below. Lights glowed warmly in windows. Parents were tucking children into bed. Night workers were beginning their shifts. It all looked so normal. "We're not the first expedition to come here," he realized. "And I don't think any of the others ever left." The next morning, Mayor Stone knocked on their door with a bright smile and a breakfast tray. "Good morning. I hope you slept well. The beds here are made with local materials. They're supposed to help visitors feel more comfortable." Zektar had not slept at all. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Amy's casual destruction of the fence post, or the elderly man performing moves that could snap bones, or the children practicing what looked like assassination techniques. "Mayor Stone," he said carefully, "we're very grateful for your hospitality, but we have questions." "Of course you do. That's why you came here, isn't it? To learn about us." She set down the tray and looked at him with those warm, terrifying eyes. "Would you like to see the real New Haven?" Dr. Yithara and the others had joined them now. They all stared at the mayor. "The real New Haven?" Erdan asked. "Oh, yes. What you've seen so far is just the surface. A part we show to ... well, to everyone. But you've come such a long way. You deserve to see what we're really about." She led them through the town to what looked like a simple storage building. But when she placed her hand on the door, it scanned. her palm and opened to reveal an elevator. "Welcome to the real colony," she said as they descended. The elevator went down much farther than should have been possible. When the doors opened, the aliens found themselves in a vast underground complex that stretched beyond their vision. The ceiling was so high it disappeared into darkness above. "This is incredible," Engineer Vorden breathed. "How deep does it go?" "About 2 kilometers," Mayor Stone replied. "We've been expanding it for 20 years. Amazing what you can accomplish when everyone works together." The underground facility was a city in itself. Laboratories, manufacturing centers, living quarters, and facilities that the aliens couldn't identify. Thousands of humans worked here, all with the same casual efficiency they showed on the surface. "What is all this?" Zektar asked. "Preparation," Mayor Stone said simply. "We learned early that the universe is not a friendly place. Every species we've met has tried to conquer us, enslave us, or wipe us out at some point. So we decided to prepare for anything." They walked through corridors lined with weapons that made the aliens' equipment look like children's toys. Energy cannons that could crack moons. Shields that existed in multiple dimensions. Manufacturing systems that seemed to build themselves. Dr. Kevin Ross, the colony's chief researcher, joined them. He was a tall man with gray hair and kind eyes. He looked like a grandfather, but his handshake could have crushed Zektar's bones. "Fascinating visitors," he said to Mayor Stone. "The Velkari are known for their exploration skills. We've been studying their techniques for years." "Studying our techniques?" Dr. Yuthara asked. "Oh yes, we study everyone. Would you like to see?" He led them to a massive archive room. The walls were covered with data crystals containing information about every known species in the galaxy. But this wasn't just basic information. These were detailed military assessments. "Velkari combat capabilities," Dr. Ross said, pulling up a holographic display. "Excellent sensors, fast ships, but weak in close combat. Psychological profile, curious but cautious. Biological weaknesses, sensitive to high-frequency sound, vulnerable to certain chemical compounds." The display showed detailed anatomical diagrams of Velkari physiology, including points where they could be disabled or killed most efficiently. "How do you know all this?" Captain Nexal demanded. "We've been studying the galaxy for a long time," Dr. Ross replied. "Every species, every civilization. We know their strengths, their weaknesses, their fears, their dreams. It's the only way to stay safe." Mayor Stone activated another display. "Krillian hegemony," she said. "Military dictatorship, expansion-focused, considers other species inferior. They sent their first fleet to our space 40 years ago." The display showed detailed battle plans, ship schematics, and tactical assessments of the Krillian military. "Where did you get this information?" Zektar asked. "From them, of course. They were very helpful once we explained our position." "Our position?" "That we wanted to be left alone, but that we were prepared to defend ourselves if necessary. The Krillians didn't believe us at first. They thought we were a weak young species that could be easily conquered." Dr. Ross smiled sadly. "They learned otherwise. But we made sure they learned in a way that was educational for everyone involved." They moved to another section of the archive. Here, the aliens found something that made their blood freeze. Detailed invasion plans for every major galactic civilization. Not plans to conquer, but plans to neutralize threats before they could develop. "You're planning to attack the entire galaxy?" Dr. Yuthara whispered. "Oh no," Mayor Stone said. "These are defensive plans. Preemptive defensive plans. If any species decides to become a threat to humanity, we'll be ready to stop them before they can cause problems." The plans were terrifyingly detailed. Each one showed how to cripple a civilization's infrastructure, disable their military, and bring their society to its knees without causing unnecessary casualties. The Zephyrian Trade Federation, Dr. Ross explained, showing them one plan. Economic warfare would be most effective. Disrupt their supply lines, crash their currency, create civil unrest. They'd be too busy dealing with internal problems to threaten anyone else. The Altarian Republic, Mayor Stone added, showing another plan. Technological approach. Introduce computer viruses into their networks, disable their communications, strand their fleets. They rely too heavily on technology. Remove that, and they're helpless. Engineer Verdon studied the plans with growing horror. You could destroy galactic civilization. We could protect it, Mayor Stone corrected, from itself, if necessary. We've seen what happens when species get too aggressive. War, genocide, the destruction of entire worlds. We prefer to prevent that. Captain Nexal, the warrior of their group, looked at the weapon systems around them. None of this should be possible. Your technology is centuries ahead of ours. How? We had good teachers, Dr. Ross said. Every species that's attacked us has contributed to our knowledge. The Krillians taught us about military strategy. The Zephyrians showed us advanced economics. The Altarians gave us computer technology. Gave you? Well, we took it. But we put it to better use than they did. They were led deeper into the complex, past laboratories where humans worked on. Projects that defied physics. Verdun saw machines that could manufacture matter from energy. Dr. Yathara observed biological experiments that were impossible according to known science. How many humans live here? Zektar asked. In this facility? About 250,000, Mayor Stone replied. But we have colonies like this throughout human space. Millions of people, all working together for the common good. And they're all like you? Enhanced? Modified from Earth, Dr. Ross confirmed. We've been improving ourselves for generations. Stronger, faster, smarter, more resilient. We had to. The universe is a dangerous place. They reached a viewing platform that looked out over the main manufacturing floor. Thousands of humans worked below, building weapons and ships and devices that the aliens couldn't identify. What are you building? Dr. Yathara asked. The future, Mayor Stone said. A future where humanity can live in peace, without fear of invasion or conquest or genocide. Where our children can grow up safely. And if the rest of the galaxy objects, then we'll explain our position to them. Just like we explained it to the Krillians. Zektar felt a chill run down his spine. What happened to the Krillians? They're safe, happy, living on worlds that exist outside normal spacetime. They can't hurt anyone anymore, and no one can hurt them. It's a perfect solution. They're prisoners. They're guests. Permanent guests. They have everything they need. Food, shelter, entertainment, companionship. They just can't leave. And they can't communicate with the outside galaxy. It's better for everyone this way. Dr. Ross nodded. The same thing happened to the exploration. Fleets that came before you. They were asking dangerous questions, getting too close to our secrets. So we relocated them to comfortable facilities where they could continue their research without causing problems. They're alive? Very much so. Would you like to see them? The aliens looked at each other in horror. This was what had happened to all the missing ships. Not destruction, but capture. Not death, but imprisonment disguised as hospitality. The question now, Mayor Stone said gently, is what we do with you. The silence in the underground facility stretched for what felt like hours. Zigtar could hear his own heartbeat echoing in his ears. Around them, humans continued their work as if nothing important was happening. What do you mean? He finally managed to ask. Mayor Stone studied their faces carefully. You've seen our secrets now. You know what we are, what we're capable of. You understand why the galaxy fears us. And why that fear is justified, Dr. Ross added quietly. Captain Nexal, the warrior, straightened to his full height. Are you threatening us? Not at all, Mayor Stone replied. We're offering you a choice. You can return to your space and continue your lives. Or you can stay here and continue your research in perfect safety. Like the Krillians? Dr. Yithara asked. If you choose to stay, yes, you'd have everything you need. Advanced laboratories, unlimited resources, fascinating. Subjects to study. Many of our permanent guests have made remarkable discoveries. Zektar felt trapped, and if we choose to leave, then you leave. Captain Sullivan will escort you back to the border. You'll file your report with Velkari Command. You'll go on with your lives, but... Mayor Stone smiled sadly. But you'll have to live with what you know, and you'll have to choose carefully what you tell others. Dr. Ross activated a holographic display. Let me show you something that might help you decide. The display showed star charts of the galaxy, but these charts were different from any the aliens had seen before. They showed the real extent of human space, not the small red zone marked on galactic maps, but vast areas throughout the galaxy. We've been expanding for decades, Dr. Ross explained. Not through conquest, but through careful placement. Human colonies in empty systems. Human agents in major civilizations. Human traders and diplomats and researchers working throughout the galaxy. The display highlighted thousands of points of light. Each one represented a human presence somewhere in supposedly non-human space. Your diplomatic station, Mayor Stone said, pointing to one light. The one where you first met Captain Martinez. We have 17 agents working there permanently. The Zephyrian Trade Federation. 43 agents in key positions throughout their government and military. The Altarian Republic. 61 agents, including 3 who help run their computer networks. Zektar stared at the display in horror. You've infiltrated everyone. We've protected everyone, Mayor Stone corrected. When the Krillians were planning their expansion, we knew about it months in advance. When the Zephyrians were developing weapons that could crack planets, we made sure those weapons never worked properly. When the Altarians were planning to enslave primitive species, we arranged for their fleets to have mechanical problems. You've been controlling galactic politics. We've been preventing wars, stopping genocides, keeping the peace. The galaxy is safer because of our work. Dr. Ross showed them more data. In the last 40 years, there have been 12 major conflicts that were prevented before they started. 6 attempts at genocide that were stopped in planning stages. 23 weapons of mass destruction that mysteriously failed to function. All our work, Mayor Stone said proudly. Humanity keeping the galaxy safe from itself. Engineer Verdan studied the technical readouts. Your technology could revolutionize everything. Medicine, transportation, energy production. Why don't you share it? Because it would cause more problems than it solved, Dr. Ross replied. Give advanced weapons to aggressive species, and they'll use them for conquest. Give life extension. Technology to overpopulated worlds, and you'll create resource wars. Give faster-than-light communication to isolated planets, and you'll spread conflicts across the galaxy. We've learned to be careful, Mayor Stone added. Change must come slowly when civilizations are ready for it. Forced advancement leads to disaster. Captain Sullivan appeared on the platform as if he had been waiting nearby. Time to make your choice, he said gently. Your ship is fueled and ready. We can have you back to Velkari space in 3 days. What about our mission? Zektar asked. We were supposed to find out what happened to the missing ships. You found out, Sullivan replied. They discovered the truth about human space. Some chose to stay and continue their research under our protection. Others chose to leave and keep our secrets. And you trust them to keep quiet? Mayor Stone smiled. We trust them to make the right decision. Every species that has learned the truth has eventually chosen cooperation over conflict. It's the logical choice. Dr. Yithara activated her scanner one last time, taking readings of the humans around them. The results were the same as always. These beings were living weapons, capable of destroying entire fleets single-handedly. How many of you are there? She asked quietly. In total? About 50 billion, Dr. Ross replied casually. Spread across several thousand worlds and installations, all working together for the same goal. 50 billion enhanced humans, each one capable of what they had witnessed, each one loyal to the same cause. It was an army that could conquer the galaxy in weeks. But we don't want to conquer, Mayor Stone said, reading their expressions. We want to protect. There's a difference. Is there? Captain Nexel challenged. Yes, conquerors take what they want and destroy what they don't need. Protectors preserve what's valuable and guide growth in positive directions. Captain Sullivan checked his timepiece. We should go soon. The longer you stay, the harder it becomes to leave. Why? Zektar asked. Because you start to understand. You see that we're not monsters. We're just people trying to keep our families safe in a dangerous universe. And once you understand that, it becomes harder to see us as a threat. The four aliens looked at each other. They had come here seeking answers about missing ships. Instead, they had found something much larger and more terrifying, a species that had quietly taken control of galactic civilization, while letting everyone else believe they were in charge. I want to leave, Dr. Yithara said suddenly. I want to go home and pretend this never happened. I want to stay, Engineer Verdun said. The technology here, I could spend a lifetime studying it. Captain Nexal was torn. The warrior in him wanted to fight, but the strategist in him recognized that fighting was impossible. What assurance do we have that you'll let us leave if we choose to? None, Mayor Stone replied honestly. You'll have to trust us. And if we betray that? Trust? If we go home and tell everyone what we've seen? Captain Sullivan's expression became serious for the first time. Then we'll be very disappointed, and we'll have to take steps to protect ourselves. What kind of steps? The kind that the Krillians experienced. The kind that make entire civilizations disappear quietly, without fuss, without violence. The kind that leave nice, empty worlds for peaceful species to colonize later. In the end, the choice was simple. They could stay and become part of humanity's secret empire, safe but prisoners. Or they could leave and become guardians of a terrible secret, free but forever changed. 3 days later, the Seeker's Pride crossed back into Velkari space. Zektar filed his report immediately. Human space explored. Hostile environmental. Conditions make colonization inadvisable. Recommend continued avoidance of the region. But that night, he received a message on his private communicator. It was from Captain Sullivan. Thank you for visiting us, Commander. We hope you found the experience educational. By the way, congratulations on your promotion. We understand Velkari Command is very pleased with your report. Attached to the message were detailed schematics of Velkari military technology that humans shouldn't have been able to access, and casual mentions of Zektar's personal life that no outsider should have known. The message ended with an invitation. Please feel free to visit us again anytime. Our door is always open to friends. Zektar deleted the message and stared at the galactic map on his wall. The red zone marking human space seemed smaller now, less threatening. But he knew the truth. Humanity had never been contained in that small area. They were everywhere, watching, protecting, controlling. And perhaps, he thought as he tried to sleep that night, that wasn't entirely a bad thing. The galaxy was peaceful. Wars were rare. Genocides had become almost extinct. Species were learning to cooperate instead of fight. Maybe humanity's secret empire was exactly what the galaxy needed. Even if no one else could ever know it existed. Next morning brought news that made Ziktar's blood run cold. 3 more exploration ships had gone missing near the human border. The search and rescue teams found nothing as always. Ziktar closed his eyes and tried not to think about where those ships had really gone, or what choice their crews would make when they found themselves standing in an underground facility, surrounded by smiling humans who knew all their secrets. Some secrets, he realized, were too dangerous to share, and some truths were too terrible to speak aloud. Where the galactic map ended, human space began. And perhaps it was better that way.